Welcome to Rico 12. Here at Rico 12, we're all about exploring the common threads of addiction and sharing tools and hope from those on a similar path. We gather from diverse backgrounds, faiths, and places to learn and support one another. And our speakers are members of various fellowships, addictions, and afflictions, thus showing our common threads of recovery, no matter our addictions or afflictions. Today's format is going to be a little bit different. For the 297th meeting, today's Rico 12 very own noodle delivery service, our Nikki M, and myself as a fellow servant in the Noodle Fellowship, among others, we're serving up some post-US holiday noodles. And our topic is basically living this life, right? What it looks like to live this way of life, to sit with the big book between us with one another, how we get to build the fellowship we crave, how we get to live the life that is calamity matched by serenity and Christmas every day. And first, some business. Rico 12 has several recovery resources in our family of podcasts and social media communities. To learn more, listen more, connect more, or just hang out and grow with us, you can check out the other podcasts that are here. You can find them at www.rico12.com. And to join our social communities, check out the chat and show notes. I'm not manning them as well as our wonderful Justin B, but I will make sure you get the links and access. Rico 12 is fully self-supporting, and your contributions help us continue our mission. Thanks to all of our spearheads, past, present, and future. Your donations really help in this project. If you also feel the desire to become a spearhead and support this cause, visit rico12.com/support or click on the links in the show note and chat for one-time or monthly donation options. Your support, not just financially, but with your word of mouth, truly makes a difference in keeping us able to share these messages of recovery. We look forward each meeting to receiving from the light reflected from our speakers. That light inspires hope, meaning, worth, and growth in us, the listening audience. We look forward each meeting to receiving from the light reflected in our speakers. And I just said that, but apparently we're really needing some light, aren't we, Miss Nikki? Now, let's introduce again Miss Nikki M. We all know the background. We're all here because we love her and we love this way of life. And if you're here at Rico 12, you have 1.5 million resources to listen to Nikki. And I am grateful to be able to interact with her for a while this morning and be able to just have a chit chat Q&A as we get to do in this way of life as we watch one another grow. And one of the things we love about Nikki is that she does that right in front of our faces with absolutely no facade and is the real deal all day, every day. Like we truly inspire from the book and one another in this way of life get to be, right? So I'll say, here we go. You ready, Nikki? Let's do this.
Hi, I'm ready. I'm Nikki M. And right when I start talking, I got a frog also I brought with me in my throat. And we're both ready, me and my frog. Thank you.
Hey, what's that best acronym for frog anyway, right?
Full reliance on God. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, Nikki, we've had conversations recently, and I'm so grateful for you. And one of the funniest things is you're telling me who I was because I didn't know when we met. And you're like, you're my God sponsor. And I'm like, I don't even know what that is, but okay, what are we doing? Hey, what's the book say? What's God say? And she's like, ta-da! And then it finally dawns on me, oh, that's what a God sponsor is. So basically, like, we're all God sponsors anyway, right? If the answer is always me connecting with God in this book, everything that is everything in this life, and the way I get to continue waking up and living it is having people around me that live this life in that way, right? And what I have for you is a specific question. It's related to the fact that we all get to build the fellowship we crave, right? We live this out loud. We practice these principles in all our affairs. This is our all day, every day. And what I've been learning recently and how I'm growing is that I'm taking it out to the places that need it, right? You and I both know there are too many people out there dying without the solution, and we've got it, and we get to share it and watch lives change as part of the promises lived for us. And yet, the need for one another and that reminder when we're awake in our dreams, but we think we're awake in real life, and then we wake up and we're like, oh crap, this is so self-operating. I didn't understand, right? So we hear God Squad a lot in these spaces. We hear different things like that. What is it for you that has been the recent or even unveiling or continued evolution of what it actually is to have a God Squad? What is that about? What does it do? How can I be a God sponsor or a God Squad?
Well, thank you, Liza, and thank you for your service, and everyone at Rico 12. I'm like, if you think you want to share your story, please reach out to Justin and the Rico 12 family, because I'm sure everyone's hearing from Nikki, tired of hearing from Nikki M. We need new voices on here always. But to answer your question, and thank you, get this message out there. People are dying. So how do you create a God squad? People say, Nikki, can I be part of your God squad? I mean, everybody I know is part of my God squad. But the intimate and personal God squad, how do I get that? By sponsoring. That's how. And by sponsoring, I meet other people and fellows like you, Liza, who sponsor. So, and I meet people, other people who sponsor, and then together, because it's on page 152, and we can read it right out of our beautiful Bible for Survival, the big book. But how do you do it? How do you get a God squad? You must sponsor. That's how, because it says right here, yes, there's a substitute for everything on this planet. Your crazy thinking, your person that won't call you anymore. For me, my neighbors who are eating my soul, there's a substitute for the men, for the money, for the alcohol, for the drugs, for the scrolling, for the internet, for the food. It's a fellowship. And so you have to sponsor in order to create the fellowship you crave. It's really radical stuff. Like, yeah, you can find people along your path, but I definitely want people in my path who are speaking exactly how I speak, Liza. So what it was for me recently, I have a very tight God squad, but the God squad has become my friends. And when I was in a blackout most recently, what does that look like? No, I wasn't drinking. No, I didn't get a man and shove him into my hole. No, I didn't go like on a quest for something. It just was an emotional blackout in that 400 forms of fear. See, 400 forms of fear that they talk about on page 62 attacks me. I like to call it, you'll hear people call it spiritual warfare. It's the addict life that I only know. It's comforting to get into that driven, right? So I got into it, called some people my God squad, and it's not their fault. But this is where I've even kicked it up another notch. If you're on my God squad, please do not say anything, especially if I'm in that moment that isn't big book. See, my friends were basically co-signing my bullshit, because I said, I want you guys next time I'm like this to remind me all of why I'm here and what's happening. And they reminded me, but they didn't remind me what the book said. And then literally page 70 didn't even come into my head, but I want to read it very verbatim out of here. This is exactly what I was doing. And I told my friend the other day, I said, this is not your fault at all. It's all me. It's always my fault. I'm always to blame. But I want to let you know why I can't have you like on my God squad in that level anymore, because we are to avoid hysterical thinking or advice. And, she laughed. She got it. She's like, Nikki, I get it. Because why was that? She had called me. And rather than get into hysterical thinking with her, and I hope you listen to this, I got to send it to you, friend, because you're not good with technology. You were on a beautiful tropical island. You pulled over in your car and you were blacked out. And rather than doing what you had done to me when I was blacked out and just getting into it, I literally stopped it. I just said, no. And I got the big book out and I went hard, smacked her right upside the head with it, smacking me at the same time. Because Liza, as you told me, that we'll get into God's sponsor real quick, is that I am you, you are me. This is no separation. And once we get into that spirit world, she understood. Because I said something to her, I said, we met in the rooms. See, I have other friends that are also on my God squad, but they're not big book. Some of my people at church, some of my people 20 years, they're on my God squad. But when I call my God squad in the rooms, have a big book in between you and that person, because in those moments, we all get into hysterical thinking, because you're me, I'm you. And I've literally burnt my life up with that decision, literally in a moment's time. And it's okay, because I'm so grateful, Liza, as I told you, like, I learn in the dark. And so a God sponsor, what that looks like, it's not my sponsor who took me through the steps. It's somebody who I'm really going to turn to, and they're going to really Ram Dass me. They're going to Buddha me. they're gonna what's Alan Watts me. They're gonna get me right into Shah Rastafari. There's gonna be a whole collection. They're gonna school me into writing sponsors who really help me seek God. They're seriously spiritually fit where they're going to tell me not what would God have you do, Nikki, what would God have you be? God wouldn't have me do anything in that moment that's had me burn up my life in a moment. And no, I didn't go out and do I need to pick up a new chip? No, because I don't even think I have a day sober from this crazy thinking. And I've been here 12 years.
Yes, yes, yes. I love that. And that takes me beautifully into another thing of that, right? Because here's the thing. We know no human aid, right? And for me, the beauty of that is the God sponsor space of everything. It's not about human aid. But here's the thing, Nikki, my darling, love, beautiful friend, did you at any point of that experience ever call me your self-titled God sponsor? When that
I have a few. And no, I didn't call one of them.
exactly.
I didn't call you.
And that's the thing.
I
But
didn't
here's
call
what's
any of you.
beautiful, because look what it does. It ties into another thing. I have had the opportunity and gift of getting to hear you recently expressing the realities of lived sixes and sevens as we look at step work. And what does that thing teach us? I get to do now what I don't want to do. It becomes what I want to do because it's what wakes me up and helps me stay awake and connected, right? And I'm going to stop doing the stuff that I wanted to do, right? The stuff that is me driving, that is me in charge, that is me in the discomfort that is familiar but dead, right? So in that space, one of the beautiful things is those people that you know would straight up be the ones that tell you, hey, what's the book say? Hey, what does God say? Hey, tap into that source of power because you're being crazy right now, right? Those God people in our lives, whatever they look like, whoever they are, and we need a lot of them, right? But that is where we go. Because the inside job of all of this, as much as I or anybody would want to be there to wake anybody up, I could lose my voice screaming at people and telling them, wake up, wake up, wake up, get to the book, connect to that power. But it's not going to do it for you. It can't handle that without your presence, right? God never leaves. We're the ones that step out, right? So in that state of not wanting to connect, but not equating what we're doing to that, right? Because we're still operating in self and don't see it because it's super convincing when we're there. But in that state of things, is that perhaps a good utilization of a 6 and 7 moment? Like, wait a minute, the one person or the group of people I definitely don't want to call are the ones that are going to tell me, look at the book and get to God, and I don't want to do that right now. Is that in itself maybe a way to further kind of, oh crap, this is me operating in self? Like, what kind of things do you have from these recent experience or just broadly over the 12 years that are your wake ups to when you're doing that? Like for me, it's the restless, irritable discontent, right? Or on 47, am I being obstinate or sensitive or, not, oh, what's the one? It's a 2-word after that on 47. Why is that not in my head? Hold on. I'm gonna get it now. I'm like, I need to see it. Thank you.
But let me answer that question real quick too, Liza, and just pop in with the answer.
It's a
prejudice.
Unreasoned prejudice.
Oh yeah, because we're asked to sweep it away every day.
Yes.
I'm going to go deep and hard right here. This is not easy. The book tells us very clearly on page 14, this is simple but not easy. So as someone called me here this morning, and someone, you've been on my God squad a long time, Rochelle, she called me this morning to check in. And she said, Nikki, no one can tell you what to do. No one can tell you what to do. See, remember, we come in here and we tap power. And then it says, and you'll probably help me with the page because my mind is wonky today, is that, we don't get cocky, right? We don't get, I think that's right in the book and somewhere it is like, we don't get cocky or afraid. And so that's in a step 10, I think. And I can get real cocky or real afraid. It's hard to get that balance. So I need the desperation of a drowning person every day. And guess what? This program gives you miracles. So that desperation isn't there for me every day. I'm just trucking along, singing a song, and I forget what it's like. And then as I told you, Liza, like I'm waking up, drunk drivers, drunk people locked up in jail, that moment, I said to you, I've been saying to a lot of people recently, I'm waking up in this jail cell right now going, oh my God, what did I do? I killed 3 people. I was drunk. What are you talking? Nikki, we tried to take the keys away. You understand? Like I mean, this goes deep because the first principle of success, as you know, is I can't get angry. And once I'm angry, it says we are tornadoes. We are tornadoes, and that's sober. And I can manage. And this is what I realized looking back too. I'm not practicing these principles in all my affairs because I got the order backwards. And many of us do this. And I know because I hear it from my friends who've been here a long time. And I've done this before and I keep doing it, which is page 19. And I'll go there so I read it exactly. A much more important demonstration of our principles lies before us in our respective homes, occupation, and affairs. Liza, I will put so much emphasis on affairs. Like, you know, I volunteer every Saturday for the homeless. I mean, not even just the homeless community. We do a community meal at Salvation Army. 200 people we're feeding. Occupation, I'm a full-time sponsor. I throw my life into that. My little grocery money job, you know, I'm the power of attorney for 3 people. But when it comes to my respective home, the way I talk to the man in my bed, the way I talk to my son, the way I talk to those closest to us, I can't even see it. I can't even see it. And it's not till, you know, it's everything's hindsight, right? Now I have a solution. So I don't step 6 and 7. Yeah, I immediately, you know, throw myself harder into helping other people. I don't drift into morbid reflection. See, the big book's a working part of my mind. So instantly, once I get back into it and you guys start reminding me of what would God have me be, not do, because that's what I do a lot. I throw myself harder into helping other people. Step 12. No, Nikki, you need to really sit down and
Yes.
think about, you see, get me in there, God squad, get me, like, what does that look like for God to have me
Yes.
be?
It's so amazing in that space, right? The busyness of recovery. Self speaks program language, y'all. Right? It speaks it really great. So it'll have you out doing all kinds of stuff. But the restless, irritable, discontent, the other things that are our triangle warning system, right? That early engaging mind, body, spirit warning system that we so gratefully have, right? Living in the space of connectedness is the priority. The service comes from the connection. And the awesome thing is we can always tap in and get connected at any point, right? But the awesomer thing is that God still shows up. Here's the magic of you and everyone. Even a broken clock is right twice a day, and God is sure as hell stronger than a broken clock, right? There is no noodle. There is no recording ever through this time that I have not heard God speak through you, right? You're not incapable when you're not in that light and doing that particular space of work that was maybe assigned in that moment that you missed. The only thing that was missed was your connective opportunity there. Everybody else that you were serving still got served a full plate of noodles, my love, right? It still existed. And that's the beauty of it. We are not causing harm when we serve. But if we're serving from busyness rather than God, that's a different thing. Right. And again, everyone knows I'm very proudly a greedy bitch. I still get to be that in recovery. And what that looks like in this space is how I can be connected and offer whatever it is in any space that is needed and just show up and let God do what God does. Instead of thinking I know anything, it just kind of unfolds and it's a different thing, but it's still service, right? So whatever it is that is our big book love language, when we understand that, it becomes a working part of our mind and we're doing the work of this. The biggest piece of it is the inside job of it, right? The indispensable. I already have every degree of it that I need. It has to come from that relationship with me and God in the book. And then when you and I see each other with the book between us, and you're like, I'm going to just eat some junk today because, you know, it's sugar and I can. And I'm like, oh, we can do a little poison these days. I didn't know that it worked that way. I didn't know I could. And you're just like, it's okay, right? I'm not judging you. You can eat whatever the hell you want to. You and God are in charge of your life, right? I just get to be a mirror for you and see the mirror that you give me. And that space of existence where we get to see where maybe somebody is struggling or suffering and just be a shoulder and an arm and an ear that directs them back to that solution they already have, but maybe don't notice in that moment. Like, that's it. That's what living this life looks like in the principles. That is what love does. And that's why in those spaces of asking what God would have us be, I don't know about you, Nikki. Those for me are almost always, especially because when I hit that, I'm super agitated most of the time. So it'll come down in just like a single word answer until I'm at a matched place of clarity and peace. Is it like that for you too? Like usually it's like calm, patient,
Yeah, it's
open.
all it is. It's
Yeah.
the fruit of the spirit. It's like God would only have us be, we do a podcast and David G has just rocketed me into another level, which is what he says is like, and I believe this way. It's like, I have been programmed. I say it all the time. I've been given my name. I've been given numbers that attach to me, my social security number, my social insurance number. I have one for Canada and the US. I've been given a family. I've been given and told who I am. That's not who I am. See, I am a calm, loving, patient, caring woman, but I forgot. That's what
Yeah.
happened. See, that's who we are. That's literally our innate being, is that's who we are, but we forget. And this is the process. Being in this is to uncover, discover, and discard all of those old ideas and beliefs. And that's why, really, what you were just saying, it came to me. It's like, we are beyond human aid. This is radical. That's why I push the big book always. It's because I had a sponsor the other day. He had every book of excuse. He knew the one thing. And if I work with you, you have to sponsor. But then he came at me that he has 88, and I'm not a doctor again, but I just read Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde on page 21. That's me. If I'm not treated, I am seldom mildly intoxicated with my thoughts. I'm Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. My lack of control is nuts, because you just said it, as powerful as we are, is the spectrum as crazy as I can be. And I know why you guys love me. I can tell you right now why you love me. Because I come here radically honest. And that's not always easy to do. To literally come here broken all the time. Oh, I see my friend just joined too. And that's what I love in this program. This person also told me they burned their life up into the ground the same way I did. See, we speak big book, and then we share and we stay together. And then you're like, oh my, you did that too. Now, maybe this person didn't do it with relationship. Maybe it was their self. Maybe it was their job. Maybe it was, I don't know the decisions we make, because in those moments this is huge. Pause.
I love that. Yes, 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 all of that, right? And when we're learning to discern and have the understanding, right? We have the mind, body, spirit of our triangle for the early warning system of waking up. Where is that version of self that is the committee of everybody in my head, as Mark Houston talked about, right? Or whatever it is, it's the craziness of all the things that are my mind telling me all the things that it thinks it knows. And the real me, that is the one that can observe all of that, right? That's the real me that's in that connected state, but forgets that. So here's the beautiful thing that I realized recently. And it's, again, so simple. When we know we have the solution, when we know we have the answer, when we know that every single thing always can be addressed and resolved completely, then it again comes to taking action according to that, right? So if I understand, as we use in the workbook from our wonderful Cameron F., our log and loser list, right? We understand everybody, pretty much all of us have all that stuff checked, right? Like I got a whole library full of stuff. I have a whole career full of stuff, like all the things, right? We know all the therapies, we know all the things. I used to do them, teach them, all of it, right? But here's the thing. None of that in self will ever be functional in a way that will be the solution, right? But what happens when it's in God's hands is now it's superpower level stuff. And when I am stuck in that mind that is the chaos of thinking, instead of the me that is the real me tapped into the source of power, I will keep looking, right? I know and love people that have been around for years that are still looking. They're buying more books. They're going to more therapies. They're doing more things. Are any of those things bad? No, baby, I am not judging you for that. But when you think you don't have the answer, you are looking for the answer, which means you don't trust and believe that you have the answer, which means you're avoiding the inside job of having freedom, right? Because you have you and God in the book, and that's what gets you there. The book tells us that. My life tells you that. Every person that lives this freely, that you look and are like, why can't I have what they have? It's like, because you're still looking, right? What I look for is another way to seek and tap into that power. Because it says, see where religious people are right. I'm looking for God all day, every day. I didn't come here looking for God. I didn't come here with, I was going to die because I couldn't even say that 3-letter word. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. Like, really? It's not about that, right? When we are seeking so that we can continue to seek and tap into that power, that's a very different thing. I'm seeking connection and I'm finding it everywhere. I find it in nature. I find it in you. I find it everywhere. God is everywhere all day. This isn't that kind of seeking. When you're seeking the solution, it's as though you don't have it. It's like, it was the funniest thing because I started laughing out loud. My husband started like, you are so funny. I was like, oh my God, do you know what? Like when you lose your keys or something, like when you find them, you stop looking, which makes so much sense. And it's like stupid that you would have to say that, but it's the same in these rooms and in this book and in this way of life. If you're still looking for a way for this to make sense, sorry, I'm getting loud, huh? If you're still looking for someone to be able to say in a Nikki M awesome voice, here's a magic word that's going to do the thing, that's going to do the thing. And finally, you'll be able to let go and start doing this. Like, no, it doesn't happen. That's not, you already have it. You already have it. Use what you have. Tap into that source of power that's already there. Look in the book that's already written and did everything for you and start trusting and relying in that. And then watch all of the other things become a part of your life from that space, right? When we think we still have to find whatever it is to make it click, no, that's still you playing God instead of reaching for God, right? Do you have anything to add to that or throw in on that, Nikki? Apparently I had some things to say.
Yeah, you did. But well, the girl's on fire. That's what the book says. The girl's on fire, and thank God you are. I heard you say step 11 all over it. Steps 1 through 9 is the format for living every day. You have to wake up. I can't do life. I have to have hope in step 2 that this power will restore everything. I have to make a decision to be a member and to live for God, a servant. I have to always know that I'm at fault, always to blame. I am responsible for everything. I have to make sure I talk to the right people, my God squad. I need to step 6 and 7, be willing and get humble to stop doing what I want to do and start doing things I don't want to do. The human race, my list of amends is everyone. We are all, there's no separation to the people in the back. And then 9, the amends is our behavior daily, and we will make mistakes. Only God is perfect. So seek God and only God. Am I living like a pagan? Am I thinking like a pagan, like an atheist? Or am I thinking like a woman of God? Men, are you thinking like a pagan? Men, are you acting like an atheist? Or men, are you men of God? Now, I heard this in my 2-way prayer this morning because that's what I've been seeking God. Okay, everyone get to 2-way prayer. That's a new thing. Year 12. I've been before, but now when you're desperate, man, you look for God. I'm desperate. I've got the desperation. Some things are really going on in my life. And you know what? Thank you, God, because I was not reaching hard enough. I was just cruising, sponsoring, just skipping along. And so, see, it's not comfortable. Calm is not easy. You said it, Liza, deep down, page 55. It's the only place you're going to find this power. Urgency, everybody. Urgency is not God. See, I heard that in 2-way prayer from a 3-way prayer. I hope that beautiful angel's on here. Just someone 10 minutes in that room with that person. It was like, what? You mean peacefully led is where God is? Gentle? Deep down is the peace? You mean all that chaos and urgency? If anything is chaotic, if anything is urgent, it's not God?
Yes, I love that. God is not in the hustle, y'all. I love that. I love that. That's so true, right? And that, by the way, is another great early warning system, right? If something feels tremendously urgent, and I will tell you, as someone who used to believe the delusion that I was a people pleaser, which is so fucking not a real thing. Oh, I'm so sorry. Not really, but hey, if anybody has a problem with the F word, I love you. And if that's the worst thing you have to say about me, oh my God, I'm such an amazing person. And that's all about all day. Because wow, I've done some really bad stuff, and that would be like the easiest of anything. So, but the reality is all of the spaces where even in service or even in wanting to meet the needs of others or even from altruistic or well-meaning intentions, right? Self can still be driving, y'all, 100%. And when that happens, it can feel really urgent because, oh God, somebody reached out and I didn't have to, blah, 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 like all those things. But I had the most amazing experience. Here's the thing. There's everything from BBA to stones properly in place to pages walk through line by line to like a million fellowships, a million groups, all the different places. Like there are so many people that are tapping into this way of life. You can find your tribe, your people, your way, your language, your understanding, your interpretative space for all of that. It still requires that you show up and do the work and practice these principles and live this way of life, right? It's in the discomfort of being present and awake and aware of just you and God in the book of it and building that relationship and building stronger spiritual muscles through that discomfort. If everything that is our using is avoiding the silence, because that's when my mind and brain are going to like really start screaming and I can't handle that space. The idea that I have to sit with just that space and this higher power that I don't really know that much yet and this book and whatever is really, really uncomfortable, right? Like we avoid it a lot. We're not investing in that because the discomfort of that, we want to distract and avoid and whatever, right? And even in the midst of the most beautiful spiritual experience, I literally had someone that I shared recently on Michael Singer podcast that was just beautiful and helped to describe self in different ways in it. And I knew it would be powerful for some people, and it really was. And someone had an awakening from that. And I had a voice note from her, and it was so beautiful because she was like, I think I'm waking up. Oh my God, I finally understand all of these things you've been telling me and self and that, all the things. And literally, someone in front of her, I could see the whole thing happening as she was describing it. Someone in front of her had dropped some litter or something. She goes, oh, that person just littered. Well, that's not right. And she's like, oh, was that self right then, just in the middle of my awakening? And I'm like, yes, it was, right? All day, every day. When you hear us say that, it's not because like we have to be dictators or we don't get to live or be free or any of those things. It's the conscious awareness of the conscious contact that we want to have with that power because it's the only power that functions for us. Because otherwise I'm out here doing really stupid things and harming people, right? So when I tap into that power as my priority, then I get to live this life freely. That's the simple part, right? Then from there, everything else starts to make sense differently and I get to continue to show up. But it requires the not easy part of just me and God in the book and developing and building and expanding that relationship through that perception of what is uncomfortable as we continue and begin, especially doing that. What do you have on that one, Nikki?
Too many words. Too many words. You lost me. See, I can't hear, like, I zoned out, to be honest. That's what happens. I only speak big book. And then I hear all of this talk and I'm like, that's what I heard recently. You can hear God in the silence. That was a lot of words. And I started drifting out thinking about how someone said, is Nikki's connection staticky? I'm like, oh, man, the internet's not working. I started drifting out. See, that's
What
the
a
other
gift.
thing. You know, but you see, like,
Yes.
That's what I want to tell people.
Yes.
Like,
yes,
that's
yes.
exactly right now when you were just talking. It's like, keep it simple. Put
So
the book between us because you started talking all these things and then that's great. But for someone like me, I drift out. I'm like a squirrel. I got
it.
like,
So
I
if
need,
you do all day, every day, and you're in the space of your 10 and notice, like at what point in your triangular mind, body, spirit, wake up system of alarm do you notice self? Like what are your moments of awakening throughout the day that are like, oh, like just now, right? When you're like, oh, I was distracted and doing this and doing that. What is your way to tap into that power and redirect? Is that a 10
well,
in your
I
head
was just
when you
thinking
notice?
about God. I was just thinking about God when you were speaking. Like, I was just like,
So
it's
the may
not,
you find him now of it?
yeah, that's what it is. I want to tell you guys, this is what some like prime example. I hear this a lot. It's words. People keep using too much words. I'm using too much words. It gets lost in the words. How about this? What if it's not about trying harder. I need to be a better sponsor. I need to try harder. It's allowing God to do the work. I have to be still. I have to take one. How about this? Page 118, be patient. We could all just sit there. How about watch? Just sit and watch. Mark Houston talks about this. Watch. You can sit and watch for what? Watch for fear for an entire year. Just watch. Sit all day. But I got to run here. We've been programmed. I'm afraid to talk because I think my internet connection's bad and I just want to blame the world and I want to go weird. But I just have to sit here and be still. This is radical.
I love it. Yes, 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 yes.
Think about it. There's no trying. There's no
Yes.
manufacturing hope. You can't manufacture hope. You can only believe. This is radical. Like, that's why most won't make it. This is not about stop doing these things. This is the creator of the universe. Comment in here. Well, pagans have gods. They don't have the God of love. Go deep with me, everyone. Let's dive deep. The God agape love, wanting nothing, being still, trusting, not justifying, explaining, or rationalizing. Wow, like I can't go anywhere. That's why also, Liza, I don't leave the rooms. I stay here when I'm in deep pain, when I don't want to do this life. I can either, here it is, I can either, this is from Shawshank Redemption, and you know this is all about practicing. I can either get busy living or I can get busy dying. See, I'm 51. I don't want to waste another moment in anger, in hate. This is not real. And fear, like this is where energy vibrate. You said it. You taught me this, Liza. This is a meat suit. And I'm so busy concerned with these things, this, my house, this is so radical. This is about why are we here? Our purpose is to serve. We are here to awaken each other and serve. And in you, I see me. We are one. This is deep. We are loving the unlovables.
Truly unconditionally and completely in the infinite, right? Which doesn't even, there's no way, even on our best day, we can fully comprehend what that contains. So the trying or the busyness of trying is a waste. We simply exist in the stillness and allow it to work through us and continue to invest in building our relationship with ourselves and God in the book, right? The truest forms of us in that universal connection, everything that is everything, where God is. May you find him now.
God is everything, right? Or God, yeah, that's what it says. Like I've said it a million again. This is the most radical mindfulness course on the planet. Go spend your money in Costa Rica. Go to Thailand and do your eat, love, and pray. Go and get your personal life coach. When I see you, madam, my friend, Miss Carol. Here it is. May you find God now. Like, this is radical. You are not going to, this is free. Sitting. We don't sit and do nothing. We do the next right thing calmly. I'm just waking up to this, you guys, because I just burnt my life into the ground. But I know God will restore it because, wow, I've been here long enough to see miracles. Hope my connection's okay. Experience miracles.
Awesome. Even the try becomes a watchword, by the way, right? I notice when I say try, I notice when something is mine. All of those things become ways that I can further recognize that I'm in self, right? So every time for me, and the 10 of that as I'm living it, right? It's like, oh crap, waking up again. Woke up, do the stuff, go through stuff. So it's this constant all day, every day. I'm, oh, self, and even to the point I still adore then my husband will walk behind me and just be like, I don't know, big girl, sounds like you need to do a 3 on that. He has no idea what he's saying, but I'm like, maybe I do I? Oh my God, like God. I'm like, oh, thanks. That's so great. I love it. Because I don't care. I just want to tap into that power. I can never operate effectively on my own without that. Everything gets to go through God. So then the next big question becomes in person and online. If we're serving, right? If we're going to meetings, we have a wonderful group of people that love noodles with us. And it at times can seem as though your noodles and the God dope therein is their only effort in ingesting such said God dope. There is no work outside of that. They depend on you or that space to get it to them, right? Which is also how when there's an exciting meeting or something, we get to go and play and have fun and see our other people that are lit up with all kinds of God glitter and all those things. If we're serving, my personal experience has been so magnificently expanded recently in in-person spaces where I live. We have 3 CODA meetings in every CODA. No, we have 0 CODA meetings. We have 3 Cocaine Anonymous meetings. Literally, we have 0 CODA, by the way. We have 3 Cocaine Anonymous meetings. Every single one of them is in a halfway house, which means forced/mandatory attendance. The people there don't live and work just like we do, right? I'm like, they're looking at me like I'm an alien, which is not uncommon. And I kind of am, so it's okay. But the reality is, like, they need us in those spaces, right? So I could be here with Nikki all day, every day, or following anybody that I love that lives this like I do, who's that 4th dimension family that we know, and will always have the connection to. Or I could be out there living and doing what I need to be doing in the spaces where they know nothing, and I get to help them, right? I get to serve, I get to be present for them. So I recently have had an understanding that I go to meetings to feed people. I don't go to meetings to eat, right? My life is where I get fed. And the way I build on that connection with me and God in the book and where God would have me show up and be useful. What for you, because I know especially you've been gifted the opportunity to do this all the time, Nikki, and share and work and do all of the things that you do a lot, but you're learning even more, and you already were doing quite a bit that had a balance to it where you were serving locally and going to in-person meetings and caring for family and all of those other things. What pages or what recommendations just from experience would you have for somebody that is nervous and shaky, maybe new and first starting to sponsor, whatever, but their space has nothing for them? What do you think might be an opportunity to expand in those spaces?
Well, I think here, like you said, Noodle with Nikki on Monday mornings is a pep rally for God. It's like that business. It's like the Monday morning. Some of you in the UK, I know I see you there too, and across the world, but we get together on Mondays. It's wherever you are in the world, and we get a pep rally for God. And that's when you go out. Now, my experience, where does it say this in the book? Well, my experience, strength, and hope is like, this is like multi-level marketing for God. Okay. It's like, remember the Tupperware ladies? You'd have a Tupperware party. Remember, you do all these different things. Okay, everyone. This is what we do. We go out and we bring people in, and like it's like okay, my police officer friends would say, Nikki, that's a pyramid scheme. And I'd be like, well, sorry, sir, but there's no $25,000 involved. It's just love. It's just joy. And then we get to multiply that. So we get a bunch wherever you are in the pyramid, you get a bunch of it. And the more you see, that's how that works. So I'm going to take us to page 102, because this is the exact instructions. See, your job now. Everybody has a job here. Your life is no longer your life. Remember? Destruction of self. You're now at a place where you may be of maximum helpfulness because we work the 12 steps. We know this is a decision daily to live like this, to live for love. We can never be angry. That's why, think about that right now, everybody, real quick. We can never be angry. That's what the book says. We will get angry, but we got to get right back into love when we do these things, right? We have to be of maximum helpfulness. These are yes or no. God is everything or God is nothing. Is it helpful to go there? Is it helpful to do that? Yes or no? And if you don't know and you're agitated or doubtful, then you need to pause. There's the dance. You have to pause. And then it says, never hesitate to go anywhere if you can be helpful. If you cannot be helpful, don't go. Right now, experience, strength, and hope. I cannot be helpful to my neighbors at all. That could take, I don't even want to know, but I can't, so I don't go. Today, I don't go. And then it says, you don't hesitate to visit the most sordid spots, like you said, the treatment centers. Liza, they do not want me in some of these meetings in Toronto. They don't want me in person in these cocaine anonymous meetings because Nikki is not a quote unquote real cocaine addict. I can take it or leave it, type 1. It's not fair for me to go into a room and say I'm a type 3. It's just not fair. But I'm a type 3 suffering the disease of alcoholism that centers in my mind. And this is radical stuff. It says, I need to keep on the firing lines. Go deep with me, everyone. That's why I recently fell off the beam. I'm on the firing lines. Go deep. The Matrix, when the Keanu Reeves is dodging the bullets back and forth. We're dodging this madness out there in the world. And remember, we tapped power. We tap power, and it's just tap it. So you have to keep on these fire lines with these motives. What motives? And you can just go back and read them. Like, are you helpful? Do you want nothing in return? Check your motives. Are you expecting to steal something, a little vicarious pleasure? Do you have a good reason for going to these meetings? Because you can't hide out online. What happens when the cyber crash happens? Oh, Nikki, don't drift into future tripping. Okay, I won't. The internet will be up and running forever. See, firing lines. And then real quick, let me finish that sentence real quick, though. God, and interchange God, everybody. See, the spiritual principles, hope, honesty, perseverance, love, will keep you unharmed. That means safe and protected. So I know we got to get out of here soon. And I don't know what you want to,
It's perfect.
what's the summary of this talk is.
You were tapping already into principles and how we apply them, and then also the traditions and how they work for relationships, right? We get to continue learning and growing with those things as well, and how they are helpful in our everyday lives with everybody, right? Because every relationship is a relationship. I don't care if it's your actual partner, if you have one or don't. It's also how you treat everybody around you, grocery store, whatever, anywhere, right? When you're living and breathing and doing this stuff. If you notice, my particular challenge for people that are hesitant to do anything outside of the Zoom space, if you notice when you click off that your face changes, as soon as you know you're free and no longer on camera, if that smile disappears from your face and you trudge like in a very awful way that is empty and missing people, as you're walking to the fridge or whatever it is that's your next distraction and avoidance, please call me. Please reach out to Nikki. Please sponsor. Please do the part that's the hardest. That's the reaching for God and looking in the book and building that relationship, because the solution and the answer exists and you already have it. And I am an excavator and all kinds of whatever it is when God is in charge, right? Like we go digging and do this work and it's amazing. Or I also love that God helps me attend the autopsies of the murders that have not been inspired by the death of self, but the driving of self, right? We get to go through all of those things. Thank you ever, as always. I love you, Nikki, and I love getting to be here and support you and just exist in the world that has you and the others that live this way of life like we do.
Can I say thank you for getting me out of self today? Like that's, again, the step 9 promise. God will do for you what you cannot do for yourself. At a sponsee today, step 9, having to read to her step 9 to make the amends to the people she hates. And then I got to deal with my neighbors. And then I'm here with you and the solution. This is why we don't leave the rooms. Thank you for the opportunity to get out of self. Remember, we all have feelings of inadequacy, but when we tap that power, wow, miracles. Love you, Liza.
All day, every day. So, Rico 12 has a weekly speaker meeting. This is that. It's on Fridays at this time. There are other amazing podcasts and resources through Rico 12. If you have not got a home group home meeting and are not contributing or doing the 7th, consider doing so here. Justin B. and this community is phenomenal and absolutely are good stewards of those funds. And also a special thanks to Todd and Andrew for their donations this week. Thank you for your support. Thank you, everyone that's already supporting and continuing to support. Next Friday, I honestly cannot tell you who's here, but that's a fault on my part and has nothing to do with Justin not preparing me to be able to tell you that. But we will make sure you know that in the chat, which there is also one for Rico 12. My apologies and extreme gratitude for the fact that this space exists and that you guys are here and choosing to live this way of life and letting us continue to serve and become more awake and aware and deep in our relationships with God in the book and you, because it's all of us together in this space, everything, all day, every day. I am so grateful. How would you like to close, my love?
I'd love to ask somebody if they can unmute and wants to come in with a prayer, just to pray over us, just freestyle or just something, from the heart. I think that's what we need to do. We need to heart talk to each other's hearts. Can someone unmute?
You know what? I have a good idea since no one is. Let's let our higher powers do some high fives up above us, and we'll just sit in that beautiful silence that we're uncomfortable with. I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening if you're not here and are listening. And enjoy this moment of silence with us. God is good all day, our day. What does a book say?
There was a man put his hand by the side of his mouth, and he wanted to scream, but the sound never came out. So he reached for the bottle to wash the pain away, 'cause what he wanted so badly was to live a different way. And all of his problems and all of his pain filled up the puddle and rose with the rain. His ship kept on sinking to the bottom of the lake. For certain that he was just a fake, just a fake. Was a man put his hand by the side of his mouth, and he wanted to share, but only lies ever came out. So he reached for the needle to numb the pain inside, and the truth that he yearned for shriveled up and died. And all of his problems, all of his pain filled up the puddle, rose with the rain. The ship kept on sinking to the bottom of the lake. For certain that he was just a fake, just a Hallelujah. die.